So today I got my new Dodge Dash in. It came in black, but my truck is camel tan, so I've ordered the Mopar paint that is actually the camel tan, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint this dash and then put it in. Okay, so here's the dash painted to match. And let me tell you something, I went and bought some OEM paint, Mopar, that is supposed to be the exact match for these Dodge Dashes, and it was too light. I didn't like it. So what I did was I went to my local CarQuest and I picked up this right here, SCM Color Coat. Okay, and now I've got the tan Dodge Interior on my 2001, and Saddle Tan is what matched it best, and it looks a whole lot better than the OEM color, in my opinion. When you're working with paint like this, you always want to wear a respirator. I've painted for a long time, and it really helps, especially if you have any kind of allergy problems or asthma problems, any kind of breathing problems. But working with this kind of paint, you want to wear one regardless. Now, when you're painting something like this, you're always better off putting on thin coats and just misting it back and forth, so you don't get any runs or anything like that. You'll have a much better finish if you use several thin coats rather than one or two really thick coats. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put my dash back in my Dodge, and you know, you don't get a lot of opportunity to get back behind your dash. So what I've done is I've just taken and cleaned all these vents off. You know, this is a 2001 model truck, so it's 16 years worth of dust. And so I just took and cleaned everything I could clean back behind the dash and around these buttons and everything, just to kind of help. You know, I mean, you don't get that opportunity very often. So I even pulled off the glass around the instruments, and you can see all this dust and stuff down in here. I'm gonna clean that out, put that back on, then I should be about ready to put my dash back in. All right, before you put your dash on, don't forget, if you put these bolts back in here like I did to just hold these brackets, because I was driving it for a little while without the dash, I put these back in. So you'll have to pull those out before you put your new dash in. Okay, so get your dash into position and just kind of ease it in there. You don't want to break anything. You know, a lot of these aftermarket parts, they're not going to be perfect. Everything's not going to be cut out just right. You can see they're kind of sloppy about the way they do things sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start these bolts up here in the top back in, but I'm not going to tighten them up. I still want to have some play, so if I have to adjust anything, I can. Okay, with this particular dash that I bought, it's not an OEM Dodge dash, it's an aftermarket ABS plastic dash. Reason I bought this one was because it should hold up better to the weather, being ABS plastic. We all know the Dodge dash sucked, so I didn't want to put another one back in. The way I would do it when I'm putting those top bolts back in is I would start on the driver's side and come this way. Now, reason being is because once you get this dash in, it gets trickier to get these bolts to go in. So what I did was I had to run my hand up in here and then kind of lift on this dash to be able to get those last two bolts started. But once I figured that out, it was easy to get them in. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the front ones in and make sure everything's fitted right. Okay, now I've got all my screws and bolts tightened up on this dash, and it all works pretty good. Let me give you some advice on this though. When you're putting this dash back in, these back bolts, don't use a ratchet to ratchet them down. I mean, you may have to use it to get them loose, but just use a screwdriver with a socket on it and you'll get them plenty tight. You don't want to break that plastic when you're putting those back in. It just doesn't have to be that tight. Now, the number one best advice I can give you when you're replacing a dash with an aftermarket part, just have realistic expectations. This is not going to go in like a OEM dash. It's not going to look or act like the dash that Dodge put in it, and hopefully it won't break like that dash. But basically, you want to get something that looks better than you had, something where you're not going to lose your wallet if you set it up on the dash. It's not going to fall in a hole. So you'll see, I mean, this is not like the best situation for these vents, but they're going to work. Once you get those bolts tightened up on the front, it pulls them down pretty close. Like that one, you can see a gap there. So that's not ideal, but like I said, this is an aftermarket dash. You know, you're gonna have issues. I mean, it don't pull real tight right here on the outside. It's kind of bowed. I don't like that, but I mean, it is what it is, and it looks a whole lot better than it did. Okay, I'm preparing now to put the airbag back in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and unhook the negative battery cable on both batteries, and then I will install this airbag. Okay, so if you did it like I said, you should have put your dash on, your airbag in, your glove box back, and if you put your nuts and bolts in little baggies and labeled them, you shouldn't have anything left over, and you should be ready to move to the next step. So I've got that back together, and it's pretty easy. If you took it apart, you put it back the same way you took it apart. Now my next step is going to be to put the new dash bezel on and make sure everything fits. Alright, once again, aftermarket part, not quite perfect. It actually went in pretty well, snapped in pretty well to the new dash and all that. The only real issue I had was behind these vents, there's kind of a funnel in the old OEM piece. It's not in this piece, but I think it'll be fine. I think the air conditioner is going to blow through there just right. There's a few little minor imperfections. I think this was made in Mexico, but it was cheaper than the rest of them by far, so that's the one I got, and it looks just fine to me.